After the events of Ragnarok, Thor and Loki plan to bring the surviving inhabitants of Asgard to Earth. However, the ship they are traveling on is attacked by terrifying creatures. Yes, who else but Thanos and his minions? The attack kills most of the Asgardians. Meanwhile, Thor, Loki, and Heimdall survive, albeit in dire straits. Here, Thanos reveals his mission: to collect the 6 Infinity Stones, mystical gems that have existed since the beginning of the universe. The stones are Space Stone, Reality Stone, Mind Stone, Time Stone, Power Stone, Soul Stone. With the power of all the stones, Thanos intends to create balance in the universe by destroying half of all living beings. To accomplish his mission, Thanos brings with him the Black Order, a group of powerful beings such as Ebony Maw, Corvus Glaive, Proxima Midnight, and Cull Obsidian. By this time, Thanos already had the Power Stone. He knew that Loki had the Tesseract, which contained the Space Stone. Thanos ordered Loki to hand it over, or Thor would be killed. Seeing Thor being tortured, Loki finally gave in and handed over the Tesseract. But suddenly, the Hulk appeared and attacked Thanos. Unfortunately, the Hulk was no match for Thanos, who already had the Power Stone. Thor tried to help Hulk, but Ebony Maw held Thor back with magical iron. With his last remaining strength, Heimdall used his power to send the Hulk through the Bifrost to Earth. As a result of this action, Heimdall was killed by Thanos. After obtaining the Space Stone, Thanos now had 2 stones. He knew that there were 2 more stones on Earth, so he sent his people there. Loki, who tries to sneak up on Thanos, is strangled. Thor is left in the wreckage of the ship, which is then blown up by Thanos. Meanwhile on Earth, the Hulk lands at Doctor Strange's headquarters. After transforming into Bruce Banner, he issues a dire warning: Thanos is coming to Earth. Doctor Strange and Wong immediately go to see Tony Stark. They told him about the 6 Infinity Stones. Doctor Strange himself kept the Time Stone in his heirloom necklace, the Eye of Agamotto. Bruce suggested destroying the stone, but Wong and Strange refused. They had sworn to protect the Time Stone with their lives. Tony then asks about Vision, since the Mind Stone is embedded in his forehead. The problem is that Vision cannot be located because he has deactivated his tracking device. Bruce says the only one who might know Vision's location is Steve Rogers, aka Captain America. However, the Avengers are currently split into 2 factions: Tony's side and Steve's side. Despite this, Bruce is certain that it's time to reunite. After all, the fate of the entire universe hangs in the balance. Just as Tony is about to call Steve, an alien spaceship lands in New York. Elsewhere, Peter Parker also saw the craft. He immediately transformed into Spider-Man and went to the scene. Inside the craft, Ebony Maw and Cull Obsidian emerged. Tony asked Bruce to transform into the Hulk, but Bruce did not transform. Eventually, Tony transformed into Iron Man and immediately attacked Cull. Strange fights Ebony Maw, but is captured. Ebony Maw tries to take the Time Stone, but fails as it is protected by a spell. Strange is tortured and taken to the spaceship. Spider-Man tries to help, but is pulled inside as well. Wong manages to send Cull through a portal to the North Pole. Tony pursues the craft and rescues Spider-Man, who is about to be ejected. Using advanced armor, Peter can breathe in space and enters the plane. Meanwhile, Bruce uses Tony's phone to contact Steve Rogers. In space, the Guardians of the Galaxy pick up an SOS signal and find the wreckage of the Asgardian ship. There they find Thor still alive. After regaining consciousness, Thor explains Thanos' mission to them. Gamora looks terrified. She knows that Thanos wants to balance the universe, and that means killing half of all living beings. Thor says that Thanos is on his way to nowhere to retrieve the Reality Stone from the Collector. However, Thor decides to go to Nidavellir to forge a new weapon to replace Mjolnir. Rocket and Groot joined Thor while the rest went to nowhere. In Scotland, Vision and Wanda Maximoff went into hiding. But they were attacked by Corvus Glaive and Proxima Midnight, who wanted to steal the Mind Stone. They were nearly defeated, but fortunately Captain America, Black Widow, and Falcon arrived to save them. Thanos' forces fled. Back on Nowhere, Gamora attacks Thanos and manages to stab him. But it's all an illusion created by the reality stone that Thanos has obtained. Thanos then kidnaps Gamora and tortures her to reveal the location of the Soul Stone. He even tortures Nebula, Gamora's sister, in order to force Gamora to talk. Finally, Gamora confesses that the Soul Stone is on the planet Vormir. In Nidavellir, Thor, Rocket, and Groot arrive at a huge weapons factory. They meet Atri, the dwarf who forged Mjolnir. Atri says that Thanos forced them to make the Infinity Gauntlet and then killed all the dwarves but him. Thor asks Atri to forge a new weapon, Stormbreaker, the legendary axe that can summon Bifrost. They revive a neutron star to heat the weapon's mold. Thor must endure extreme heat to open the energy valve. Once the weapon is complete, Groot cuts off his own hand to use as the axe's handle. On the planet Titan, Tony, Peter, and Strange landed on Titan. There they encountered the Guardians, who at first thought they were enemies. After a small fight, they came up with a plan together. Strange then used the Time Stone to see millions of possible futures. Of all those possibilities, there was only one where they could defeat Thanos. Thanos finally arrives on Titan and fights them. After a long battle, Mantis manages to put Thanos into a mental slumber. They almost succeed in removing Thanos' gauntlet. But when Star-Lord learns that Gamora is dead, he loses control. He strikes Thanos and wakes him up. Thanos goes berserk, destroying the moon and throwing it at Tony. On Vormir, Thanos and Gamora encounter the Red Skull, who is guarding the Soul Stone. It turns out that to get the Soul Stone, Thanos will have to sacrifice the person he loves most. Gamora laughs. She thinks Thanos loves no one. But it turns out, Thanos truly loves Gamora. With a heavy heart, Thanos pushes Gamora off the cliff. And finally, the Soul Stone is now in his hands. Back to Earth, Wakanda prepares. At Avengers headquarters, Captain America, Black Widow, Falcon, Wanda, and Vision return to Avengers headquarters. There they encounter Rhodey and Bruce Banner. Vision realizes that the only way to stop Thanos is to destroy the Mind Stone in his head. Wanda can do it because she has the power of the same stone. But Steve says they won't sacrifice one person to save many. Instead, they will take Vision to Wakanda. There, Shuri's advanced technology may be able to remove the Mind Stone without killing Vision. Wakanda becomes the last line of defense against Thanos. The Great Battle in Wakanda. In Wakanda, T'Challa, Black Panther, greets the Avengers and prepares to face Thanos' army. Banner is wearing the Hulkbuster suit because he still can't transform into the Hulk. Thanos' army arrives in large numbers. Fierce monsters are used to break through Wakanda's defenses. Brutal battles break out everywhere. Meanwhile, Shuri attempts to separate the Mind Stone from Vision's body. Thor comes to the rescue. Just as the heroes are about to be overwhelmed, suddenly, the sky darkens. Thor arrives, with Rocket and Groot. He brings Stormbreaker and immediately destroys the enemy forces. This moment has everyone cheering. Literally one of the coolest moments in the MCU. Thor, Rocket, and Bucky fight fiercely. Wanda joins the fight, even though she was told to stay in the lab to protect Vision. But as soon as Wanda enters the battlefield, Thanos' army grows more brutal. Corvus Glaive sneaks into the lab and attacks Vision. Vision is badly injured. Thanos arrives finally. Thanos arrives in Wakanda alone. With the 5 Infinity Stones in his hands, he moves slowly, and the Avengers try to stop him one by one. But they all fail. Vision realizes that he must be sacrificed. Wanda, in tears, shatters the Mind Stone in Vision's head, killing the person she loves most. Thanos can only stare, sadly, but it was all for nothing. Thanos simply snaps his fingers and reverses time with the Time Stone. He revives Vision, then rips the Mind Stone right out of his head. Vision is dead. Thanos now has 6 Infinity Stones. Thor arrives and throws the Stormbreaker, hitting it right in Thanos' chest. Thor stares at him and says, but Thanos, with a slow smile, says,
You should have gone.
Then, snap. With a single snap of his fingers, Thanos activates all the stones. The universe shakes. Thor panics. He doesn't understand what's happening. One by one, they disappear. A few seconds later, one by one, the heroes begin to turn to dust. Bucky disappears in front of Steve. T'Challa vanished as he tried to help Okoye. Groot disappeared as he called out to Rocket. Sam, Drax, Mantis, they all vanished. And the most heartbreaking moment, Peter Parker. Peter hugged Tony, then slowly disappeared. Tony remained silent. The world seemed to stop. Thanos had won. At the end of the movie, we see Thanos sitting in a remote location. The wounds on his body are clearly visible. But his expression is peaceful. He stares at the rising sun and smiles. Thanos wins.